Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of my Rising Signs of the Zodiac series. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about what it means if you or someone that you know has your rising sign in the sign of Scorpio. Now, what is the rising sign? That is the sign that was on the eastern horizon at the exact moment of your birth, so it's very time sensitive. And your rising sign is considered to be one of the big three. So you got your sun, which is identity, ego, purpose, what gives you life. Moon, your subjective, internal, emotional realm, landscape. And then you got your rising sign, which is it's basically you. It's like your front face. It's like the mask that you wear. Some people liken it to it's like a receptionist or the public face of a company. I like to describe it as being somewhat like if life was like a video game, your sun might be why you're playing that game, what you want to do when you're playing it. The moon might be how you feel when you're playing that game if you're in some virtual environment. And the ascendant is the actual person that you see in the game. Say it's like a third person perspective. You see a wee guy, a guy or a woman walking about in this game. That actual physical representation of this person in a virtual environment, that is a good way of thinking about what a rising sign is. It's your physical form, your avatar, persona, the body. It's how you walk, how you talk, the way people see you, and also the way that you view other people. So it's tends to be is really like what you learn really early on, how to manage and navigate the world based on your very early life experiences. A lot of this is before you can remember, but it's like there's some part in your brain where it's like, right, I got to be this certain way in order to navigate the environment. And so with the Scorpio rising person, well, you're, regardless of what else is going on in the chart, if you're a Scorpio rising, then your chart ruler is Pluto, so you're a very Plutonic person. Pluto, the planet of death, rebirth, sex, the occult, trauma, hidden thing, anything. Well, occult means hidden, but anything kind of intense. Pluto is really intense, and also with Scorpio, it's a very black or white kind of sign. It's like super, like it's love or hate. People might love or hate you. Generally, it's going to be one or the other. So yeah, the ruling planet is Scorpio. It's fixed, and it's a water sign. So Scorpio's fixed water. So that's like an iceberg, is ice. And water in astrology is emotions. It's your memory, and it is your subjective experience. And when that is fixed, and you got fixed water, like to me that I read that as being like it's like frozen, like ice. So it's like stuff gets stuck there. So Scorpio has an incredibly good memory, and will not really forget things very easily at all. Symbol is the scorpion. So what does the scorpion really do? It's not a big animal that can't chase things and intimidate things and bash things and bite its prey. It's very, very small and vulnerable, but it's so sneaky and quiet and careful, and has a stinger, and it can, some scorpions can kill people. It's like they're very lethal. So with Scorpio, you're dealing with someone, the Scorpio rising, super cautious, more quiet, more likely to be quiet than most people, careful and self-contained. I think this comes from this idea that the Scorpio rising person has, where it's like, like it's not really that safe out there. They must have learned this really early on, where it's like, I gotta be really careful here. I gotta be careful. So mysterious. The Scorpio rising person has a mysterious aura generally, and this is because their programming is to be more quiet and more considered and more careful, like the scorpion, because it is vulnerable, so it has to be very careful. Can appear standoffish, mysterious to other people, and other people might not necessarily like that. So you could be like Marmite for other people, Marmite. I don't know if everyone gets that reference. So this in the UK they say it, you love it or you hate it. Like that's what they say about Marmite. It's you put that on toast. Personally, I don't like it, but that's what it's like with Scorpio. They're like Marmite, right? And Scorpio rising person, they're gonna get a lot of generally strong reactions from people. People might really not like the Scorpio rising person. They might not even realize why. And other people are going to love you. But you're probably going to have, you're going to get a reaction of people just kind of by being yourself, you know? And so yeah, Scorpio rising people, yeah, they can be a bit strange, or they seem a bit strange, they seem a bit unusual, and people get a vibe from them and they can't really figure out what it is, but there's just something like bit different, you know. I think the Scorpio rising individual, this person, they like to hear more than they say. They listen more than they talk. They want to know stuff. This is very important. Like they got to know what's going on, what people are saying, what people are doing. Like Scorpio rising person can be quite nosy, and generally I think, like, again, as I mentioned, I think this does come from a kind of survival program that's running, and it's like, well, it helps to know, it helps to keep yourself safe if you know what's going on, and it helps to keep yourself safe if you keep your mouth shut. If you keep your mouth shut, you can't be saying everything that's on your mind and just whatever, and just being like, I'm just going to be myself or whatever. It's like Scorpio rising people, they're like, maybe they like this idea, but they don't really live that way. They're like, I got to be super careful because you never know who's friend or foe. When I think of Scorpio rising, yeah, those words come to my mind, friend or foe, you know, love or hate, black and white thinking. Pluto is, you know, death and rebirth. So you're dealing with extremes here of contrast. So yeah, Pluto ruled person, chart ruler, Scorpio rising, more likely to have dark hair, dark eyes, an intense look. And you are not going to be, like, obviously as I've mentioned, you know, you're not going to be a chatterbox. You're probably not going to like crowds and mixing with lots of people. You're going to be I want my own space, my own place. Maybe prefer to be in the corner of a room, seeing everything, rather than being in the center of the room and not knowing what's going on around you. For a Scorpio rising person, that's probably going to be really uncomfortable. They're not going to like that. It might be a social anxiety thing. I think Scorpio rising people, they are probably a bit more prone to social anxiety. And I think, yeah, that comes from this idea of like, I got to be careful, you know? So anyone with that kind of programming running, they're naturally going to be more inclined to maybe be a bit more anxious, you know? Like, this is not a carefree energy. You're not going to have a carefree aura. You're not going to, you know. I mean, it depends on what else is going on in your chart. Of course, you might have Uranus in the first house. You might have Mars in the first house. You might have a whole bunch of stuff in Sagittarius, like, you know, Sun, Moon, or whatever. But Scorpio rising, there's always going to be a bit of this quiet, mysterious, calculated, careful, bit anxious, kind of energy, you know. That's the Scorpion. That's Pluto. You know, you're going to carry that with you, you know. And so yeah, Scorpio, fixed water, Pluto. Pluto is a very powerful planet. It's considered to be a planet that through transits helps or forces a person to be authentic to themselves and get to the root of an issue, the truth, the real truth, things that hurt, things that are a threat to your ego. And Pluto is associated with death, so Pluto is associated with the real, the macabre, the not so nice things. So it's not a superficial planet, it's not a superficial sign, it's not. So Scorpio rising people, they're going to want to be talking about things that are real, and they probably don't like small talk, probably not very good at it, doesn't interest them very much. Superficial things, superficial people doesn't really interest at all. They have a low tolerance for engaging in this sort of thing. They're like, I want to talk about things that are real, intense, difficult subjects. things that are taboo, hidden, things that are offbeat, you know. So Scorpio rules, and Pluto as well rules things like sex as well. So, you know, it's like sex, death, rebirth, trauma, the macabre, things that are dark, strange, you know. So these are things you're going to be interested in, and you're going to be drawn to these things, you know. And I think, just maybe early on, like just not fitting in at all, and then feeling hurt about that. I think with Scorpio rising, there is a sense that you don't necessarily want to be seen, because Scorpio is associated with the 8th house. It's associated with water, obviously, and these are more hidden. These are more, these are more hidden. Like the 8th house is hidden, so you're kind of bringing that energy to the ascendant, that hiddenness. Like, I want to be hidden. I think when I think of Scorpio rising, I think of cloaks, I think of shadows, I think of sunglasses, I think of like like being away from the lights, being in the shadows. Not all the time. It's not like you're always going to want to be hidden, but like this is kind of the archetype of the Scorpio rising person. And there might well be a feeling of like obviously danger, you know, like it could all go wrong. I have to be careful, you know, it could be danger here, so I have to be careful. So this is a big thing with Scorpio rising people. And just like I would say, because they know that they can be intense in their communication, because it's Pluto, I'm very careful about that. Like, I have to be careful, self-contained. I can't just be myself, because you've maybe learned that if I just be myself, people are sometimes not going to like that. Some people are going to have a problem with that. They're going to think like, oh, you talk about weird things, or you're too intense, or you're they're going to say stuff and it's going to hurt. So you're kind of like, well, I'm not going to do that unless I really know a person really well. So this is it's all about being like super careful, you know. And self-aware, you know, it's a big thing. Another thing, you hate surprises. So surprises are like the unknown. Scorpio doesn't like the unknown, sudden change, not good, is not really into that. So that could be a threat, that could be perceived as being a threat. And Scorpio rising people, so you might literally just wear a lot of black, or a lot of black and white, a lot of red, and you might have maybe sometimes a slight frown, or kind of strong, it's kind of strong features, you know. That some people might find you like you're very sharp looking, and very focused looking, you know. That could scare or intimidate some people, you know. So just having a wee quick look at the houses, it's like you can be a very good in business, serious communicator, because you got Capricorn in the 3rd house. You have Leo in the 10th house, so you're proud of your image. It's important, I think, for you to like, for people to think good of you, you know. Like Leo is proud, the lion, the sun, having that in the 10th house, that's good. But with the Scorpio rising person, it's like, it's not vanity, it's not like that at all, but it's kind of like, even though you might not want to be seen in an obvious way, like, you know, you might not be super chatterbox or whatever, that doesn't mean that you want to be unknown. It doesn't mean that you're not ambitious, and it's not like that at all, you know. And with Leo in the 10th house, like, you could really shine in career and having a good public image. Like, this could be important to you. I think you would do well with Taurus in the 7th house to have a partner and friends who are like super grounded, super chill, super consistent, nice, earthy, calming people. Because with the Scorpio rising, with Pluto ruling your chart, you might lack that sometimes. You might have a lot of fear, anxiety, depression even. And Scorpio rising people are a bit more prone to black and white thinking, like I'm saying, than most people. So you're going to do well having people around that can ground you and be like, it's all right, just chill. you're just getting caught up in some thoughts and it doesn't mean anything. So they really benefit from this, you know. This is a big thing. Also with Scorpio rising people, your parents, especially your mother, might have been a bit distant with you emotionally, physically, just not so present. They might have spent a lot of time out of the house, or you might have spent a lot of time out of the house. Might not have been very close, or there might not have been a lot of warmth. I'm not saying there was not a lot of love there, or they didn't care about you, not at all, but it wasn't really expressed in a very obvious way, you know. And yeah, just stuff like that, you know. Sagittarius as well in the second house, right? So I think you're a very philosophical person, and you have a lot to teach, and you value things that expand your mind, and you, although I'm saying there's like caution and skepticism about other people, there's also a desire to learn more about this weird and kind of scary world that you live in. Be like, I want to learn more about that, you know. So behind the caution there is also a great love and like interest in other people and the world and stuff like that. It's just you're very careful about it. You just got to be so careful about it. But that doesn't mean that you're not a people person, or you're not into learning about other people or making connections. It's not like that at all. It's just you do it in a way that's more coordinated, like the Scorpion. You have to be cautious because the Scorpion is very vulnerable, you know. So that's why it's got the, you know, it's so careful, and it's got like the venom and everything to keep itself safe, because it's not all safe out there. It's not all good, and you've learned that from an early age, you know. So yeah, I mean that's about it really for for Scorpio rising. If you like this video, please leave a comment, please leave a like, and hit the bell icon, and I will see you in the next one. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.